Aloha, shamans and wise ones, and welcome to our little corner of the galaxy here in this dimensional space called EarthStar Spiritual Center in Greensboro, North Carolina, United States of America. Today is Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Our topic tonight in Simply Shaman is Taoism, WEI, or the flow state. So I am Stacy, your host. I am a Co-Abbot of EarthStar Spiritual Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. We have our auspicious guest today, Dr. Amanda Todd, and she's coming to us all the way from the beach. Hope everything's going okay down that way. Amanda is an intuitive shaman. She does many, many things. She takes people on worldwide trips, being of the Pisces nature. Of course, she is very eclectic in all of her thinking, her acting, and her heart and mind and body. Anything else I left out, Amanda? Anything else you'd like to say to everybody? So thank you for being here today.
Oh, no, that sums it up well, eclectic.
Yes, definitely. So those who are Pisces would understand that. Now, underneath your name on the screen, it's got Sacred Way Ceremonies. Do you want to maybe share some things about that, things you've done in the past, and maybe what are some of the plans you've got rolling around that Pisces reality?
Yeah, so I guess for the past 15 so years, I've been teaching energy work, Reiki, the Huna, Kahiloa, crystals and stones, energy work. And I've kind of been shifting over the last few years. I've explored a lot of things as a Pisces would. I've done animal communication, healing touch for animals, tea touch for horses. So that's kind of in the animal realm. And then most recently, I've become a death midwife or death doula, and I've studied ritual and ceremony. I do that in an academic sense, but I also do that in service to others, like active engagement. Mostly have trained in Scottish wedding ceremonies, and then as a funeral celebrant as well. And I also do labyrinth walks, and that's all part of Sacred Way ceremonies, the labyrinths. Guided forest bathing walks, so sacred walks. Also with that, the ceremonies and rituals, and then the end of life death doula work as well.
So I told you she did a lot of stuff. So, and you left out a lot of things. Let's see, you've written 2 books so far in reference to getting in touch with the natural world, right? And those are available on Amazon. And later on, I'll add those to the links also so people can click on that. But also on Amazon, they can just type in your name, Amanda Todd, and it'll come up with the books that you have on there.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. And then also one very important thing that's dear to my heart is you're the redheaded hula girl, right?
I am. So that's the other thing I do. And that's connected heavily to the flow and movement part is the Hawaiian hula dancing, which I've been doing since 2016, 17, and I teach classes on the coast. I'm going to do workshops throughout the area as well. So I love bringing women together in community and sharing aloha that way through hula and movement.
Exactly. And now Amanda did not learn hula on a video or on YouTube. Okay? She actually traveled to Hawaii and studied with a hula kumu or a hula teacher, right? And what was your teacher's name?
Kumu Kea, she's on Oahu, so I've studied with her, and I've studied with other kumus as well that have come to the mainland, but also while I've been on the islands myself. So Kumu Kea and Oahu.
Yes, good. And so really you're probably the first Scottish Cherokee redheaded hula girl. You probably could do your hula lessons with a kilt, right? That'd be fine. Okay, wonderful.
That would be good. I'll have to try that sometime.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining us here today, Amanda. So let's get right into our topic. And also, if you'll look in the show notes today, you'll see where I have some other information on how to contact us, Jeannie and myself, and also Amanda through the various contact sources. And so today we're speaking about Taoism, WEI, or the flow state. And this is part 4. So if you would like to see the previous 3 videos with Margot, Tiare, and Heidi, just as you go to the EarthStar Spiritual Center YouTube channel, make sure you click on the live tab, and there you'll find those those shows also. Okay? So this is part 4 today. Thank you, Amanda, being able to meet us in the middle of the day. Some things about EarthStar Spiritual Center. We are a multi-faith church. We're living Aloha. Jeannie, my beautiful wife, and I, we are the abbots of EarthStar Spiritual Center since 2002. Our core principles or beliefs are Aloha, or all loving God, love, oneness, heart path, and as above, so below. This is our EarthStar YouTube channel. So look up EarthStar Spiritual Center YouTube channel. There you'll find various meditations, and make sure you click the live tab also. That's where you find all the other Simply Shaman and also energy healing videos on the live section. And please be sure to like and subscribe so you can be notified of all these wonderful videos we do from time to time. Okay. And these are some of the books we've written, 5 books total, and the last 4 there from 2020 on. Those are the Simply Shaman series, and those notes can be found in the show notes, or just go to Amazon and you can just type my name in, Dale Stacy, without the E, okay, Stacy, and you should be able to pull those works up. And for those of you who are aspiring authors and you'd like to help in getting your work published through Kindle or Amazon Publishing, we have a ministry, EarthStar Publishing, and I've got that info in the show notes also. So give us a look with that. All right, well, let's get right into our lesson then, Taoism. Let's go over some basic definitions to make sure we're on the same sheet of music. So Taoism then literally means the way, or the Tao is the way, okay, or the path. Now, Tao, it has a D sound. It looks like a T. So think of it as the word butter. You know, we don't say butter, right? We say butter. So the T sound has a D. So the same thing with Taoism, or the Tao, or the way. Okay? One of my favorite quotes out of the Tao Te Ching is, empty yourself of everything. Let the mind rest at peace. Returning to the source is stillness, which is the way of nature. Yes, the natural way. And that's the Tao Te Ching, book 16. Okay? So Taoism. All right, now let's look at Wu-Wei, or the flow state, and Wu-Wei from an Oriental perspective. Okay? We can define that sometimes literally, meaning no action, not to act, emptiness, nothingness, effortless action. Now, we're going to go over the Western perspective of that, because a lot of times we think of emptiness as means we're not doing anything productive. We're sitting on a couch in our holy gray sweatpants eating a tub of chocolate ice cream. And so people think that's you're just not doing anything. But really, from the Taoist perspective, you are doing something. You're sitting on the couch in your holy gray sweatpants eating a tub of chocolate ice cream. All right. So you are doing something. Also meaning aligned with nature, being in the now, or having an appreciation of the present time or presence. Okay? And then releasing attachments, okay, letting go of that ego. So Wu-Wei from an Oriental perspective. Okay? Have a slide here, a couple of slides for you to read. Let me read those out to you. To understand nothing takes time. Oh, a Zen proverb. Yes, indeed. Understand nothing takes time. Good. One on the right. When your energy vibrates at a frequency that is within direct alignment to what the universe has been attempting to deliver your entire life, you begin to live in the flow, and true miracles start to happen. Yes, indeed. Those times of serendipities, right? Okay, now a Western perspective of Wu-Wei, or the flow state. Okay? Think of it, instead of emptiness, whereas we would think of nothing, think of it being openness, or everything. Okay, so openness then would be the Western perspective. Letting go of ego, letting go of control, letting go of intellect, emotions, or anything that would hinder us having an open mind, and definitely having an open heart. Another perspective, we want to align or allow the natural course of events and to flow with that. So imagine an example would be you're trying to rake leaves on a windy day. Why would we do that? There would be such a struggle. Swimming against the current. Why would we do that? Again, a struggle. Working when you, in fact, need to have some rest. Because you notice that when you're working and you're not in that flow, it takes about 2 to 3 times longer to do what you wish to accomplish, and it's really not very efficient, not very effective. Whereas if you'll wait until it is the natural time for you to do that particular task, you'll find that you'll normally do it in half the time. You'll do it in a very efficient and effective way. And most importantly with that, it brings you joy to do that task. Another example would be simple, spontaneous course of action without attachments. And attachments, you see I have in parentheses, control. That means try to limit your control over every little minutia of your activities each and every day. Everything in your mind, body, and spirit. So think about if you are a micromanager, because you know how it is to have a micromanager. Imagine someone just standing right behind you, talking in your ear 24/7, trying to give you instructions on how to do a task that you've been hired to do and that you're very good at doing. Yet you have someone whispering in your ear or talking, confusing you, adding more energy than is necessary, and they continue with that. You can see how that would be quite a problem or a challenge for you. Okay? So watch out for that control. Bruce Lee had a very wonderful quote, very wonderful Oriental philosophy: empty your cup so that it may be filled. So remember, if your cup of tea is full, then you can't receive this metaphorical tea from other folks, other input, other help in the spiritual realm, the physical realm, right? If your teacup is full, then how can you receive this tea or this so-called help or support or ideas or advice, right? There's no room for anything else because you believe that you have everything you need within your mind, body, and spirit. So make sure you're open and allow other people to provide you with tea. Okay? Another Western perspective, striving less to generate more. And we do that when we take out the stress. Okay? So remove the stress from what you're doing, because if you're stressful, then you're not in the flow state. You're not in Wu Wei. Okay? Another perspective, able to receive something much better than planned. If we'll just get out of our own way, right? And our own way is because of our ego. We want to control things. So what are some other examples of that? Overthinking. Do you know how it is when you try to overthink something, or have you been around some people who try to overthink something and nothing gets done, right? Because they're overthinking. Be aware of the fear. Be aware of indecision. Be aware of emotions, lack of confidence, lack of empowerment. These are all things that can hinder our flow state. And when we're aligned in this flow state, that's when we enter this beautiful arena of coincidences and serendipities. So make sure that we stay calm as we're in this flow state, and we'll be able to realize these wonderful things that come to us and happen to us and for us. So that's what we're talking about, the flow state. So now that we understand that, one little final quote. I love the Lonesome Dove series, one of my favorite cowboy series. So Return to Lonesome Dove. You got to keep flowing where the force of nature takes you. So who would know that the Return to Lonesome Dove and that series back in the 90s provided this wonderful Taoist perspective. And that was said by Texas Ranger Gideon Walker when he was quoting Captain Gus McCrae of the Texas Rangers in Return to the Lonesome Dove series. All right, so what we want to do now is we want to give Amanda a chance to share her wonderful vision, her wonderful wisdom, and being in the flow state in mind, body, and spirit, and with all her thoughts, words, and actions, and many things that she has done, is currently doing, and no doubt will continue to do as she expands her Ascension and Aloha consciousness, knowing that all of our goal is to create planet Aloha. So we have 7 questions for Amanda. And Amanda, I'll let you know when we're about halfway through. Just give us a time frame. We can cut to that. So the first question then, how do you define flow state in your life and or reality?
So I think from my perspective, the flow state is a state of surrender. It's trusting, which I haven't always been good at. So I will confess to that. That it has taken me time over my spiritual journey and awakening to come around to that, to understand that surrender and trust I can't force. It is where nature takes me, and my flow may be a different speed than somebody else's flow. Um, and I think that's one thing, as a Pisces, I'm eclectic. I'm doing this and doing that, and in this tributary and in that one. But sometimes my flow state is a little faster, but still surrendering to that speed of that flow and the synchronicities that are happening and coincidences and what spirit is presenting to me. So that's how I define the flow state. It's also that state of joy and bliss. Um, so I've surrendered, I'm open, expanded, and I'm joyful. And everything I do, even though there's lots of things I do, it's all part of my joy and how I express my joy and flow with it. Um, yeah.
Wonderful. Goodness. Wonderful note taking things you just said. So little pearls along the way. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
Outstanding. All right, let's go to question number 2 then. How do you create or stay in a flow state in mind, body, and spirit? So how do you create or stay in that flow state?
So there's probably two things that I do to create or stay in that flow state. One is to be in nature. Um, so as a past environmental scientist, I am big on nature and being in nature. So as much as I can, if I feel like I've gotten off my current or off my path, just spending time in nature. And that could just be sitting in my backyard in the sunlight, feeling the wind, the breeze. It could be sitting by a creek, um, by the ocean, or walking on the beach. But for me, that's how I kind of keep returning my mind, body, and spirit to that calm place that I want to be in the flow. Um, so, yeah, for most of the part, it's just being in nature. And then another thing is moving. So for me, it's movement. Again, the flow of it, the movement, but it could be something as simple as mowing my yard, which a lot of people might find strange, but that's how I can center and return to my calm state is moving that energy, my energy, mowing, hula dancing, dancing in general, or walking in nature. So that's how and I do those things daily, some aspect of that daily.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, I like that nature thing. I think everybody kind of talks about nature, that being one of the main things that most people do. So, yeah, that's great.
Mhm.
Let's see, hula dancing. Any other kind of dancing you do other than hula, or is it just free expression kind of dancing you do?
Static dancing I've done. I've also, sometimes hula hooping. Okay, so hula hooping for me is just that movement of energy. Hawaiian hula dancing, um, and then just a static or free dancing. And at one point in my life, I got a lot out of what they call shamanic trance dancing, which was moving energy, but you're blindfolded. So the aspect of being blindfolded is that you weren't in a state of judgment of watching others or in your head because our eyes and our vision can put us in that state. But when you shut that off, then you go inside more. So for me, that was really powerful on my journey of awakening is doing that type of movement. Um,
Yes.
but
Good.
but the other thing about being in the flow is realizing that there have been times when I haven't felt like dancing, and I couldn't do it. Especially like with Hawaiian hula, I had to take time off from that a few times just because of other life events. But then I came right back to it, and it was almost like it was better. I was better because I listened to myself and I took that break. So that's also that flow of just surrendering to, okay, well, now it's something different my body needs or something different my mind and spirit need rather than thinking it's always going to be one thing.
Yes. Okay. And just for the audience, in case they're not aware, which a lot of people aren't, for as far as Hawaiian hula, as opposed to some of the other Polynesian cultures, those are often quite fast. But I always thought when I watch you doing the Hawaiian hula and other Hawaiian hula dancers, it just reminds me so much of Tai Chi. It is such
Yeah.
a slow, flowing movement. How would you describe Hawaiian hula dancing compared to some of the Polynesian cultural ways?
So, like I tell my students in classes, one of the difference between, say, Hawaiian dancing and Tahitian dancing, it has to do with the music. But in hula, you're pulling the music, where in Tahitian and some of the others, you're pushing the music. It's so that's a difference. So with Tahitian, it's usually the drum beats, and it's more of a strong hit with the hips and a pushing of it. Where hula, it's languid and flowy. Your hips are mimicking the ocean waves, so you got that flow going on in your hips. So that's kind of one of the differences. Another difference is oftentimes they'll say in Hawaiian hula, it's all about your heart, and it's coming from your heart versus where, and I don't want to say Tahitian's not a heart dance, but Tahitian's much more focused on the hips and
Yes.
the hip movement, where hula is telling the story. And with hula, hula really is a mind, body, spirit experience, like Tai Chi or Qigong or yoga. And I don't think a lot of people realize that, because
Yes,
you've
they
got
don't.
your mental stimulation of learning choreography, of learning mythology, of stories, learning the geography of the land. So your mind gets stimulated in that aspect, but then your body's moving and moving energy. And as a dancer, you are a vessel of energy, and that moving energy heals you. And I do believe it helps heal those around you that are dancing with you, or the audience watching you. And
Yes.
then there's the whole spiritual aspect too, because you're connecting to something greater than you as you dance and move. Yeah.
Wonderful. I love all the water-oriented descriptions and adjectives you use. So wonderful, not only for somebody who knows about the Hawaiian culture and hula dancing, but also especially coming from a Pisces. So wonderful using all those. It's almost like you're saying it's like a tidal movement. It's like a ebbing and a flowing, coming in, going out. So that's just
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, and one thing I've found from watching dancers over the years, I find people's personalities come through in hula. So
Yes.
when I have dancers that are always ahead of the beat, or they're pushing or forcing the
Yes.
step or the movement, and they're rushing through it, because hula really is slow. Even faster hulas, there's this slowness to it. And so I've found over time that there's correlation between those that rush through life and speed through life, then they're doing the same thing in hula. And
Yes.
hula is a struggle for them, and they may not resonate with hula, because it does really require you to slow down, to breathe, and to go within. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, because I've noticed that too in Tai Chi classes. After about a minute, I know exactly the person's personality after you watch them do that flow. And yeah, I've got way back in the recesses of the mind, I've got in mind this thing to do, like a little 3-hour project. I'd like to do an hour of Tai Chi, an hour of Qigong, and integrate an hour of hula.
Oh, that'd
Just
be
to give
good.
people, yeah, and maybe we could even do a yoga, so it could be a 4-hour thing.
Hmm.
And to have people experience these movements in a very quick and concise way, just to see what kind they like. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
beautiful, wouldn't it, to be able to do that?
Yep.
So we'll have to put that on the burner and light it up and see what happens with that. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Wonderful. Number 2. Let's see, and we're doing good on time. Okay. All right. Question number 3. How much time do you devote to your flow state daily?
Well, that's a good question. I would say today, um, I'm mostly in that state. There are times and things that may pull me out of that, but I do intentionally try to do something for an hour or more a day, whether that's walking in nature or the hula dancing, because I do teach hula 4 nights or 5 nights a week. So that is something I devote to my flow state and moving my energy. Um, and so I'm in it throughout the day, in and out. Again, that's flowing depending on what's happening in my life and outside influences, but I flow with that much easier now than I used to. And a lot of that comes from, and I will say, how you and Jeannie really empowered all of us in your mystery schools and your energy work trainings. Like, you empowered us to, accept responsibility for our lives and the energy that we're putting out into the world. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay. Do you purposely try to do something for your mind, body, and spirit, or do you, when you're doing these things, is it all just combined? Is it just really a union of mind, body, and spirit?
I'd say at this point it's a union with everything I do. Yeah.
Wonderful, good. Yeah, but
Because
so
when
it's
when I go walk in nature, it's not just I'm walking or exercising. Like, that is a time for it's a moving meditation for me. So it's
yes,
clearing my mind, because I'm not so good at sitting still anymore with meditation. but I get a lot out of moving, like I said, walking, hula dancing, mowing the yard, or in water. So that's how I kind of return to that flow state.
Yeah, it is one. So really, you're staying in the now, and that you're having this time of presence, right? Conscious presence. That's wonderful. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Wonderful that. All righty. Okay, number 4. Any ceremonies, mantras, or rituals to enhance your flow state?
Again, I'm going to take it back to, because I do see hula as a ritual, especially how I approach hula and doing it for my mind, body, spirit. It is something like other people do yoga or may say mantras. I'm doing hula as my ritual every day. So that's my connection to the earth, because hula mimics nature. That's how I can connect to the earth when I'm indoors, if I'm doing hula. So that is one thing that I always return to now, is the hula as a ritual. And then, of course, I do Reiki self healing to help me sometimes, or just breath work to enhance my flow state, depending on what's going on in the situation where I'm at. But yeah.
Okay, and you are a Reiki and a Huna master.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. Okay. Any particular mantras or any kind of chants that you would do, like on purpose, like purposely would do those?
Well, the only thing I can think of, and anytime something's happening in my life, and maybe I don't want to say I regret something, but maybe something's happened and it's caught me off guard. What I tell myself is, I love you. Like, I'm constantly telling myself that, like, so no matter what happens, it's okay. And it's back to question 3 a little bit, is everything's temporary. So whatever state I'm in, it's going to shift, and I can shift it pretty quickly by just changing my energy and my mind. But, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's wonderful, because a lot of people I know, we discussed that in class. You got Sanskrit mantras, and you have the Reiki, you have some of the Hawaiian stuff that we would say, or maybe you would speak in Latin for some of the ceremonies. And people would try to bring to folks' attention that English is sacred too, because like you said, what could be more powerful or more sacred than saying I love you? I mean, not only to yourself, but also to other people, to other selves. I mean, that's the most powerful statement in all of the universe. I love you. So, and it's okay to say that in English. So yeah, that makes perfect sense to be able to do that. Now, little rituals. I know we mentioned a thing about you have some Cherokee heritage, and you do some of the Scottish work. So any particular rituals you would incorporate with anything you do with the flow state?
So oftentimes when I'm in nature, I'll make an offering. And I do talk about that in my book on nature trails. But
Yes.
that is a ritual for me, whether it's leaving a little bit of sage, tobacco, or if I don't have anything, even my own hair sometimes, that helps that uh, reciprocity with nature. So that is a ritual I do when I'm out walking often, because I feel the birds can use my hair, or somebody.
Red fairy hair, my goodness.
So those are just small little rituals that I do when I'm out walking on different nature trails, or I'll call upon the spirits of the land, and call upon the spirits of the fairies that are there, and commune with them. So that's something else that I do to enhance my own calm state and my awareness of the world.
Yeah, one. Now, reference to the offerings, I know you have this also in your book. You have some wonderful things in your book, and I would encourage all of you to go on Amazon or look in the show notes later and click on and order one of Amanda's books, because those things are wonderful if you're ever outside and you need to have some type of log, because it brings out everything that you can write down to help you remember mind, body, and spirit. So, but I know you often talk about doing offerings. Would you just give us a quick rundown of what would be some of the offerings that people could use? Because sometimes people just aren't sure exactly what to offer to the spirit world or to Mother Earth.
Yeah. So depending on where you are, like, we've used sage, tobacco. I've also used corn before, kernels of corn. flower petals, but like we do in Hawaii, they are not picked. They are just what has already fallen on the ground somewhere, and then you use those as your offering, maybe somewhere else, or even a simple thank you, just saying out loud thank you, because I know we don't often travel with items in our bags today when we're out walking or something, but just saying thank you can go a long way to that spirit of the place and the energies there.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Wonderful. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Bits of wisdom. Good.
Yeah.
And just let everybody know, now Amanda's dad passed away a week ago, and she did the funeral up in Virginia. She did a wonderful job. We're so proud of her as an EarthStar minister. She did a great job. It was a very very wonderful celebration about our father bringing in his, being a country vet, but he lived in the city, down home humor, loved cowboy stuff. So loved all the songs you played and the message you had for him. A wonderful little ceremony that we did for him and with him. So thank you for that. And thank you. I know with that still on your mind and a lot of the clearings and blessings you're going through as we all go through when our parents move on. So thank you for being here today and still sharing with us.
Yeah.
All right, number 5. Now I know some of these questions may overlap, so we may have already said them also, but I had to try to ask different ways. Maybe something else would come out. So, any examples of being in the flow state in reference to creating or manifesting a reality that we'd like to have? So, anything that you do, especially for manifesting a desired reality. Anything you can share with us about your flow state with that?
Yeah, for manifesting a reality, for me, it comes down to my visions and creating the story or the vision in my mind's eye. And to do that, I have to be calm and know clearly, what I am wanting to manifest there. So for oftentimes it's sitting outside, breathing in the fresh air, and just visualizing with my mind's eye what reality it is that I'm wanting to manifest. Or um, in addition to visualizing it in my mind's eye, I often will create little boards, and I don't call them vision boards, but I'll do something on PowerPoint where I'll pull in different images and words of what I'm wanting to create there. And then I look at it, and for me, everything's based, I guess, again, on what I see with my eyes. But to me, when I know my vision on paper looks bright and looks good, then that resonates with me. Um, and the same thing when I decide when I'm going to move somewhere, oftentimes I'll look on a map and the map will kind of light up visually for me of where my next move is. So for me, it's seeing with my mind's eye and my eye, like the light in places and the light there, the joy. Okay.
Oh, that's great. And now for you, would you say you're more clairvoyant? Do you see things, or are you clairaudient, hearing things? Or are you, being a Pisces, are you just clairsentient? You just feel everything, or are you all three, or maybe two?
I'd say I see more. I don't hear as much. That kind of comes and goes more so, but I just sense the inner sense and see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for those who haven't come into this lifetime being a Pisces, the most psychic, most intuitive of all the astrology signs, any tips that you could share with people, since you have this manifest destiny of clairvoyance already built in? And we know that everyone has a third eye, so we all have that ability. We just have to turn it on. But is there anything you could help share with how people could help their third eyes to become stronger, or maybe just to trust what they're seeing?
Practicing and playing. So staying in that state of openness and curiosity. Um, I think that has helped with my sensing abilities. My hands may tingle or may feel things, may feel heat. Um, I may just internally have a sense or know of stuff, and it's just over time trusting that. But it comes with practice, I think, and being surrounded by like minds who I can talk with about it, my experiences. So that's helped me. Having others I can, the Pisces talker, talk through it and know that, okay, yeah, this is what I'm getting or feeling and moving from there with it.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, because being a Pisces talker, of course, you have to have someone who's willing to listen. So that's wonderful. Yeah, if you can find that, if you can match up that with like a yin and yang, that is great times. All right, outstanding. So great examples of being in the flow state to help us to manifest. All right, number 6. How does your flow state, this is going to be a hard one for you, right? How does your flow state align with living aloha, especially being the redheaded hula girl? So how does your flow state align with living aloha?
Just sharing my eclectic passions and my joy with others. So everything that I share and do today is just what I enjoy sharing, and love supporting, exposing, um, being with others, getting to express that part of myself and what I enjoy.
Expressing joy, yes.
So it's like with the hula, I love sharing that. No, it's strange, the redheaded hula girl, but I love sharing that because I've always loved dance. But I love the mental stimulation of learning the choreographies and the mythology. But I just simply enjoy bringing other women together to learn that, and to be in that energy together. So I think that's my flow state of all the different things I do. It's just that I love them all. So sharing all of that. And if I find that at some point something doesn't resonate with me anymore, then I kind of move on.
Yes.
I don't get hung up on, oh, I need to be doing that because I've trained in it and I've studied it and I've done it. I need to stick with that. I know the flow of life, and as I'm expanding, things are going to change.
Yes.
In the way I'm serving. Yeah.
Outstanding. Good. Now, in reference to your hula, do men ever sign up for your classes or anything?
I've had some male students when I've taught before at more of like a gym setting, for more of a fitness hula class, but in my regular weekly classes, I don't have men coming to those.
Right.
Yeah. And part of that too, I think, comes from the lineage of hula that I've studied. It's mostly for women. So there's a difference there too. But it's just who I'm, I guess, aligned with, attracting to work with is other women right now through hula and movement.
That's wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful teaching people to open up, especially that region of the body with the hula. What would you say? What are some of the most common expressions the women are giving you about this living in aloha and opening up that hip space with the hula movements?
Well, a lot of them say they feel better after class. They could have had a bad day, but they look forward to hula because they know they're going to feel different afterwards.
Yes.
I've had women, that have cried during class because it is pretty powerful when we're all dancing and moving in the same way. There's something about that energy that builds. And then we go to turn all together like the school of fish. And when we turn, something about that energy shift, and it is sometimes a 90-degree turn, then people just have this release of emotions and things they didn't know would come up. So hula's pretty powerful. And again, I don't think people realize like how special it is.
Yes.
The energetics of it.
I think folks are so used to going to a luau when they travel to Hawaii, and it's just those little quick presentations, and they don't understand the mind, the mental and spiritual aspects of what the dance represents. Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful.
And it's the music too. They love the music because Hawaiian music is so uplifting and positive and loving. So sometimes it's just the music they enjoy hearing.
Exactly. Yeah, because how can it be sad with living aloha and hula music? My goodness.
Right. Right.
All right, outstanding. And we're right at the 40-minute mark. This for a marker, Amanda. And this is our last question for you. Anything you'd like to review? Any other tips? Maybe questions I didn't ask you about the flow state? And then and then again, how would you integrate the flow state specifically in whether it's your mind, your body, or your spirit? How do you do that?
It's just, I think, bringing awareness to all three of those parts of myself and knowing it's all one. And I will add here something else I just thought of. So again, I guess that visual person. I was thinking about when I've lived in the mountains versus when I've lived at the coast. And I always said, and JT even, or Cherokee teacher, told me one time that I was hiding out in the mountains.
Yeah.
And I often felt like in the mountains, I had this like warm blanket over me. But when I moved to the coast, I never thought I was like a beach girl or a coast girl. But when I moved here, it was like all of a sudden I felt expansive. Like I felt like I was on the front of a ship, arms wide out open, just taking it all in. And then things just rolled here for me. And I'm not on any kind of astrocartography line. I know Evangeline's talked to you before about that. I'm not, this is not one of those lines for me, but somehow here the synchronicities and the magic, maybe it's being near the water. So I think that's what I usually tell people is just pay attention to how your body feels in different places. Like, where are you happiest and more joyful? Because then that's where the synchronicities are going to multiply and happen faster because you're already in that state. And I think that the landscape, the land, and where we live does impact us, but we also impact it. So just noticing how you feel when you're in different places. And I think that's why a lot of people do sacred travel and go to places to tap into that energy of that place. And whether they can take that home and embody it themselves in their geographic location or not, I think in time you can. Like we travel to Hawaii, right? We bring that aloha back here to the East Coast. So we embody that. And I think there's something to that for others to consider as well when they travel or go somewhere, noticing how they feel and bringing that back to where they are when it's joyful and happy and good. And then the magic just rolls from there.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. Goodness. And I know you speak about the water, and of course, being Pisces, your water element. And for those that don't understand that, you may have an affinity for one particular kind of water. So whether it's an ocean, river, lake, stream, right, bubble bath, swimming pool, spa.
Right.
So what would you say for water for you? What do you think your favorite kind or body or structure of water works best for you?
Moving water. So
Yeah,
whether that's the ocean or a river, creek, being near that, but it's got to have movement to it. Like I'm not a lake person, that's stagnant water for me. But that works for some people because they need that calmness and that stillness, I think, at that point in their life. So just like I mentioned when we started, I do think everybody's flow is different. Some of us flow faster than others. No right or wrong with it. It's just how nature is taking us. And what I see sometimes is like you're in a river, floating down the river, and some people are going to be in their inner tube, just casually, like slowly taking their time going down the river. And then other people may be moving a little faster, but it's trusting that when you hit, some next spot, that spirit, your higher self, your guides, your ancestors, they're going to be there to help you navigate that water.
Yes.
So like I think about the locks and weirs and dams and stuff and how easy some of those boats navigate the rivers and that we can flow with that and trust it too. So for me, it's movement. Got to have movement.
Outstanding. Gosh. Okay. So wonderful, wonderful tips and wisdom from the mind and heart of Amanda Todd, Ph.D. And we keep saying your Ph.D. What is your Ph.D. in, Amanda?
It's actually in geography. So I started as a physical geographer, earth science type, and then shifted into more cultural human geography. And I studied spiritual landscapes of the Appalachian Mountains. And rituals and ceremonies.
Sacred landscape. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep.
Outstanding. All right. Well, good. Well, so let me go down the list then of some of the things that Amanda shared with you, just so you can do a little review and check your notes. So the first thing was the flow state. Amanda said just being in a state of surrender, trusting. And just remember that there's different speeds of flow. Some are slow, some are fast. So make sure you find your own flow with that. Being present in spirit, having joy, bliss, and just being open. So wonderful for that. The question number 2 about the flow state was to be in nature. That was one of your favorite things to do, places to be. Sitting in the sun, feeling the breeze, down by a creek or ocean, walking on the beach, movement of the flow. You particularly mentioned that. Even mowing the yard, doing that and just being in a calm state. Hula dancing, you love doing that. Static dancing, even doing the hula hooping, shamanic trance dancing, and just listening to yourself. And if you have to take breaks, then find a way to return back to the flow. That's a wonderful wisdom for that. Now, the times that how much time you spent during the flow state, you said generally an hour or more daily, and to recognize that it is a union of mind, body, and spirit. So you're using all aspects of who you are to be in the flow state, and you just love, as you're doing your walking, you just consider that to be moving meditation. So wonderful for that. Doing some of the rituals again. You mentioned the hula dancing. You mentioned doing the Reiki self-healing, saying to yourself that I love you. Wonderful, especially saying that out loud to create that vibration. Giving offerings, and you gave us some examples of wonderful offerings people give to the environment around them. Calling upon the spirits of the land, working with the fairy people and all the elemental people. Wonderful way to connect that way. On manifesting in reality, you spoke about your particular visions, creating a story in your mind's eye, and to just be calm. You often go outside to do that. You enjoy, as you're manifesting and creating that way, you enjoy focusing on your breathing, especially breathing fresh air. You mentioned you made PowerPoint presentations for yourself just to have a vision on paper, and you love to do that. We talked about the third eye, how people, since you were innate with it, how could we open that third eye? And you said to practice, to make sure you play with it, have curiosity. And you said sometimes your hands will tingle or you'll feel some heat. And you said also to be around like-minded individuals to help with your third eye work. That'd be great, giving the vision. And living in Aloha, you said thing was about sharing your eclectic passions, love, being around others, expressing joy, hula dancing, mental stimulation, bringing women together during hula classes. So it's a wonderful way to show how you can live Aloha in the flow state. And then on the review tips, you said to make sure, awareness to mind, body, and spirit, because it's all one unit. And to be aware of the elemental awareness, especially where we live and how we can connect. And then especially knowing, how do we feel when we do that, especially when we travel. So what are the feelings for some of that? So did that pretty much sum it up? Anything you'd like to add to that, Amanda?
One thing I'll add is something that you used to tell me all the time about finding the rip current out. So anytime I was whirlpooling and anxiety, stress, uncertainty, whatever back in the day, you would always say, find the rip current out of that.
Yep.
Exactly. And I love that. And I hear that all the time in my head, if I ever start whirlpooling.
Oh, good.
I find that, rip current out to the ocean. So move that energy and get out of that spiraling nature.
And very appropriate since you're a water element to be able to use that. Huh? Yeah. Yes. Very good. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, let me do so just do the review I did at the beginning. Remember, WEI then is no action, but in other words, our Western perspective would be it is open to everything. So it is action. Okay? Suspend the ego. Be aware if you're trying to control things and trying to control the outcome. Because remember, things often come to you in a much better form than what you have possibly imagined. So allow that to happen to you. And be in alignment with nature and the natural order of things. Okay? So feel your way through that. And remember to stay in the now, have patience. That's very important for being in the flow state. And allow those things to happen that you've created. Okay? Try not to rush it because it'll be here when it can. Yeah. And now in the show notes, I have a link to one of those after school performances. It's about the art of doing nothing. Wonderful little video presentation. So take a look at that. But there were 3 lines in it that I really appreciated. talking about being in the flow state or WEI. And that is when the dancer becomes the dance, or the poet becomes the poem, or the singer becomes the song. That's when we can find ourselves truly of being in the flow state. So allow yourself to be what it is you wish to manifest and create, and do that through the flow state. All right. Well, thank you so very much, Amanda, for being here with us today. Hope you have a wonderful week. Many blessings to you and your family during this time of honoring your dad's passing. And once again, I just want to reiterate again, we're so proud of you for the service you provided for your dad. It was absolutely wonderful. I can't imagine he would have liked anything other than what you did. That was great, and especially the Quigley Down Under references, because that's one of Jeannie and mine's favorite movies too. That's our New Year's Eve movie. We'll watch that every New Year's Eve. So that was great to be part of that. So thank you for all the projects you're working on. Thank you for the books you're writing, helping people to connect and to be a part of this sacred journey that we're all on as we create Planet Aloha. So I hope you have a rest of the week. It's great for you. Wonderful. Any big things coming up immediately that you'd like people to know about?
I'm trying to get my third book out. So hopefully in the next month, that'll be on Amazon. And next event will be a Reiki class in February. And I will probably be starting a end-of-life death doula ritual and ceremony training, offering that to practitioners going into end-of-life care in the spring.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. And you're down by the coast, right?
So, I'm down by the coast.
Okay,
yes,
that'd be wonderful. Get all those beach folks. That'd be wonderful. All right, well, thanks for being here. Well, let's do a pow, and we'll let you go. All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3. Pow. That delay there. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful week. Hey, love you, Amanda. Maya.
Love you.
Aloha. Remember, be the love or aloha in every moment. That's what we do, all of us, to help create Planet Aloha. All right, aloha.
Aloha.